Catwoman is a character appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics. Created by Bill Finger and Bob Kane, she debuted as the Cat in Batman #1, spring 1940. She has become one of the superhero Batman's most prominent enemies, belonging to the collective of adversaries that make up his rogues gallery, as well as Batman's best-known and most enduring love interest, with many stories depicting their complex love-hate relationship. 4. Since 1993, Catwoman has had her own ongoing series, Catwoman. Catwoman and Enemies, belonging to the collective of adversaries that make up his rogues gallery, as well as Batman's best-known and most enduring love interest, with many stories depicting their complex love-hate relationship. 4. Since 1993, Catwoman has had her own ongoing series, Catwoman. Catwoman is the alter ego of Selina Kyle, a burglar in Gotham City who usually wears a skin-tight bodysuit and uses a bullwhip for a weapon. She was originally characterized as a supervillain and adversary of Batman, but has been featured in an eponymous series since the 1990s that portrays her as an anti-heroine, often with a utilitarian moral philosophy. The character thrived in her earliest appearances, but she took an extended hiatus from September 1954 to November 1966 due to
Batman number 62, December 1950, reveals that Catwoman was an amnesiac flight attendant who turned to crime after suffering a prior blow to the head during a plane crash she survived. She reveals this in the Batcave after being hit on the head by a piece of rubble while saving Batman while he was chasing her. However, in The Brave and the Bold number 197, April 1983, she later admits that she made up the amnesia story because she wanted a way out of her past life of crime. She reforms for several years, helping out Batman in Batman number 65, June 1951, and 69, February 1952, until she decides to return to a life of crime in Detective Comics number 203, January 1954. After a newspaper publishes stories of Batman's past adventures and some crooks mock her about it. However, Catwoman prevents her thugs from murdering Batman once he is later found knocked out, but quickly claims she wants him as a hostage. Catwoman appears again as a criminal in Batman number 84, June 1954, and Detective Comics number 211, September 1954. The 1989 Catwoman Limited Series, written by Mindy Newell and with art by J.J. Birch, expanded upon Miller's Year One origin. This storyline, known as Her Sister's Keeper, explores Selina's early life as a dominatrix and the start of her career as Catwoman. The story culminates with Selina's former pimp, Stan, abducting and beating her sister Maggie, who, in contrast to Selina, is a nun. Selina kills Stan to save her sister, and gets away with it. Most of this is revealed in the former series, but is expanded upon in Her Sister's Keeper, Catwoman, Volume 2, number 69 provides details about Selina's childhood and neglects Maggie's existence. Maria Kyle is a distant parent who preferred to spend her time with cats, and commits suicide when Selina is very young. Her alcoholic father, Brian, is cold to Selina for resembling her mother, whom he resents for dying, and eventually drinks himself to death. To survive, Selina takes to the streets for a time before getting caught and sent first.
When she is 13 years old, Selina discovers that the detention center's administrator has been embezzling funds, and she confronts her. In an attempt to cover up her crime, the administrator puts Selina in a bag and drops her in a river to drown, like a cat. She escapes and returns to the orphanage, where she steals documents exposing the administrator's corruption. She uses these to blackmail the administrator into erasing Selina Kyle from the city's records, then steals the administrator's diamond necklace and escapes from the orphanage. Selina eventually finds herself in Alley Town, a network of cobblestone streets that form a small borough between the East End and Old Gotham. Selina is taken in by Mama Fortuna, the elderly leader of a gang of young thieves, and is taught how to steal. Fortuna treats her students like slaves, keeping their earnings for herself. Selina eventually runs away, accompanied by her friend Sylvia. However, the two have difficulty surviving. In the Catwoman, Year One story, Selina, who is now an adult, achieves some success as a thief. Following a disastrous burglary, however, she accepts an offer to lie low as a dominatrix employed by a pimp named Stan. They plan to trick men into divulging information that might be used in future crimes. According to this storyline, Selina trains under the armless master of Gotham City, receiving education in martial arts and culture. During this time, a client gives her a cat o' nine tails, which Selina keeps as a trophy. Batman, Dark Victory, the sequel to Batman, The Long Halloween, implies that Catwoman suspects she is the illegitimate daughter of mafia boss Carmine Falcone, although she finds no definitive proof. Selina's connection to the Falcone crime family is further explored in the miniseries Catwoman, When in Rome. Though the story adds more circumstantial evidence to the theory of Selina's Falcone heritage, establishing that the Falcone's second-born daughter was foot. Catwoman also appears in the Batman, Nightfall saga, where she is approached by Bane's henchmen while robbing a house. Bane asks her to work for him, but she refuses, as she is repulsed by the criminal who broke Batman. Later in the story, she boards a plane with Bruce Wayne to fly to Santa Prisca. She next appears in the Batman, Night Quest saga, where Azrael is masquerading as Batman. She is one of the few to recognize that this Batman is an imposter, later being present when the true Batman returns to the fold as he struggles against his successor, his willingness to save even criminals confirming his true identity for Selina. In 1993, Catwoman was given her first ongoing comic book series. This series, written by an assortment of writers, but primarily penciled by Jim Balent, generally depicted the character as an international thief and occasional bounty hunter, with an ambiguous moral code. After her time in New York City, Selina returns to Gotham City, which at this time is in the midst of the No Man's Land storyline. As Catwoman, she assists Batman against Lex Luthor in the reconstruction of the city. After being arrested by Commissioner Gordon, she escapes from prison. Later that year, during the Officer Down storyline in the Batman titles, Catwoman is initially the chief suspect. Although later cleared, she displays increasingly erratic behavior throughout the story, with her series later revealing that she has developed a form of personality disorder after exposure to the Scarecrow Sphere gas, causing her to act as herself and an identity that appears to be her sister Maggie pretending to be her. Soon afterward, she disappears and is believed to have been killed by the assassin Deathstroke the Terminator, ending her series at issue number 94.
Catwoman then appears in a series of backup stories in Detective Comics #759-762, August, November 2001. In the backup storyline, Trail of the Catwoman, by writer Ed Brubaker and artist Darwin Cook, private detective Slam Bradley attempts to find out what really happened to Selina Kyle. This storyline leads into the newest Catwoman series in late 2001, written by Brubaker initially with Cook, later joined by artist Cameron Stewart. In this series, Selina Kyle, joined by new supporting cast members Holly and Slam Bradley, a character from the early Golden Age DC Comics, becomes protector of the residents of Gotham's East End, while still carrying out an ambitious career as a cat burglar. During the Batman Hush storyline, Batman and Catwoman briefly work together and have a romantic relationship, during which he reveals his true identity to her. At the end, he breaks off their relationship when he suspects it has been manipulated by the Riddler and Hush. This is the second story. Catwoman appears to be completely reformed, and her love for Batman is true, although brash and unpredictable. However, she has learned her reformation was the result of a mind wipe by Zatanna, a procedure known to deeply affect and, in at least one case, physically incapacitate its victims. Zatanna gives no reason for her actions, but in a flashback, it is shown that she had acted with the consent and aid of 5 of the 7 JLA members who had helped her mind wipe Dr. Light and Batman. Catwoman's response to this revelation is unequivocal. She gags Zatanna with duct tape, rendering her powerless, and pushes her out a window. Afterward, she is seen covering her bed with past versions of her Catwoman costume. Still unbalanced and uncertain of herself in issue number 52, Selina is forced to decide whether to kill a supervillain. Black Mask, in an attempt to improve himself, threatens the most important people in Selina's life, from Slam Bradley to Holly.
In 2011, DC Comics relaunched its main line of superhero titles under the umbrella The New 52, which revised and updated the fictional history of its superhero characters. Catwoman's new monthly title now focused on Selina's earlier days as Catwoman, though not the identity's origins. The series begins with Selina frantically escaping from unknown masked men who are invading her apartment. After flitting from rooftop to rooftop, Selina looks back just in time to see her apartment blown apart by explosives. She turns to her informant, Lola, who often supplies Catwoman with information and various jobs. In this instance, Lola tips Selina off to an unoccupied penthouse where Selina can lie low for a few weeks, as well as a job stealing a painting from Russian mobsters. For this job, Selina infiltrates a Russian club by posing as the bartender. There, she recognizes a man who murdered a friend of hers, and she takes her revenge. Once her cover is blown, Selina dons her Catwoman outfit and fights her way out of the club. It is revealed through Selina's inner monologue that she and Batman are lovers, and the premiere issue ends with the first sex scene between the two. 40 Her revised origin in Catwoman, Volume 4, Number 0 draws from Batman Returns. Catwoman is later confronted by Steve Trevor, who offers her a spot on Amanda Waller's new Justice League of America. Selina initially refuses, but accepts the offer after Trevor promises to help her track down a woman who has apparently been posing as Selina. 41 It is later revealed that Catwoman was chosen specifically to take down Batman should the JLA ever need to defeat the original Justice League. 42 The teams eventually come into conflict in the publisher's Trinity War crossover. In the Earth 2 continuity, Selina Kyle and Bruce Wayne are married, and their daughter, Helena Wayne, is that universe's Robin. In this universe, either Selina has reformed or was never a supervillain in the first place. It is revealed in issue number 0 of World's Finest that this Selina was killed while trying to stop what she believed was a human trade ring. Although Catwoman has been historically portrayed as a supervillain, Batman and Catwoman have worked together in achieving common goals and are frequently depicted as having a romantic relationship. Batman has had many romantic relationships with female characters throughout the years, but while these relationships tend to be short in duration, Batman's attraction to Catwoman is present in nearly every version and medium in which the characters appear. In an early 1980s storyline, Selina and Bruce develop a relationship, in which the closing panel of the final story shows her referring to Batman as Bruce. However, a change in the editorial team brought a swift end to that storyline and, apparently, all that transpired during that story arc. Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle, out of costume, develop a relationship during Batman, The Long Halloween. The story sees Selina saving Bruce from poison ivy. However, the relationship ends on the 4th of July when Bruce rejects her advances twice, once as Bruce and once as Batman. In Batman, Dark Victory, he stands her up on 2 holidays, causing her to leave him for good and to leave Gotham City for a while. When the two meet at an opera many years later, during the events of the 12-issue story arc called Batman, Hush, Bruce comments that the two no longer have a relationship as Bruce and Selina. However, Hush sees Batman and Catwoman teaming up as allies against the entire Rogues Gallery and rekindling their romantic relationship. In Hush, Batman reveals his true identity to Catwoman.